Hey everyone, my name is Crisel Valenzuela, and I am the multidimensional medium behind Crisel Can. If you are joining me for the first time in my community readings for collective healing, thank you so much for being here. And let me just explain what we're going to do today. So, what I like to do in these sessions is offer up healing through spiritual connection. And I'll walk you through a little bit of a guided meditation to help you ground your energy, help you set your intention, and then have a little bit of fun, and we'll get into some emoji readings. So if you are here with me, drop me a comment, let me know where you're joining from. Love to hear where everyone's from. Eventually, I'd love to travel and see you all and do some in-person readings. So looks like we have a Karen. Hi, Karen. Thanks for being here. Let's see. So while we're waiting for people to join in, I just want to share a couple of announcements. First off, I just want to share next month I have a really special treat. We are going to do the community reading at a different time. We'll be doing it on the third Thursday, but we'll be doing it a little bit earlier than normal, probably a lot bit earlier than normal. And the reason for that is I'm going to have one of my previous mentoring students come on and do readings with me. My student is in Ireland, and so because of the time change, we're going to be doing this a little bit earlier, or a lot bit earlier. Hi, Grace. Thanks so much for being here. Welcome. And if you guys are new to the channel, head on over to my website. Visit my website, www.criselcan.com, and join my mailing list. I'm going to be sharing a lot more new information and doing a lot more things with my mailing list. If you're looking for a place to stay connected with me and know everything that's going on, the mailing list is going to be the place to be. And then if you're looking for a place to connect with me personally, to interact with me, then the Embodied Gathering is going to be the place to be. There'll be a lot of changes coming up with that. But if you join, you'll just be brought along for the ride. Oh, that buzzy sound. I think it's actually my computer. So I am not in a spot that I usually do these live streams from. And I think that buzzy sound is the computer on the stand. So sorry about the buzzy sound. I know we're going to get through it. And thanks for being here anyways. And welcome from Riverside, Karen. You're my neighbor. Hi, Kate. Thanks for joining from Illinois. No, it's not you. It's my computer. So Thanks for letting me know though, because this is not where I usually do my live streams from. So I'll keep that in mind if I decide to do it from here again. Let's see. I'm actually thinking if I have something to kind of mute the sound. Okay. Stay with me, y'all. Okay. We're a little crooked here, but we're going to be all right. And I hope that the buzzing has calmed down a bit. The other thing is I usually use a mic or my headset. So the mic might just be near where the buzzing sound is. But yeah, we're gonna be fine. So join my mailing list. Welcome for being here. Thank you for being here. And next month, the community reading for collective healing is going to be a little bit earlier in the day. It's probably going to be around 11 a.m. or 12 p.m. Pacific time. But if you're on the mailing list, you will get a notification before it goes out, before we go live as a reminder. And so that is the best place to go. If you are into spiritual development as a way of living a more holistic lifestyle, then you are in the right place, because while having that connection and direct line of communication with spirit is very fascinating, very interesting, very entertaining, it carries a lot of purpose and value in just being human and just being happy and being successful at life. And so that's why psychic development is so important to me, and that's why it's my mission to share it with as many people as possible. So if you're into psychic development for integrated living, then please join my mailing list so you can hear about my future events. I'm doing my planning right now for the first quarter. I usually go dark for winter and the holiday season. And what I do have planned, I do have some of the events already posted on my website. So I have group past life regression posted on the website. I have a group reading posted on the website. I have a handful of psychic play circles if you want to learn how to connect with spirit. And I also have a class that is not on the website yet that I'm going to be teaching next year in January. And it's going to be on how to use pendulums and how to build a relationship with a pendulum. And that class in particular feels so timely for me, especially as I came from a work virtual happy hour, and I had made a comment about how it was really hard for me to reconcile that one of my teachers is a devout Catholic, but she's also an amazing medium. Like, how do you reconcile what you believe and what your profession, and then this organized religion that basically says that what you're doing is not okay? And what one of my colleagues said in the group was that she grew up being very afraid of Ouija boards and she would not touch a Ouija board. And I actually love that example, because that's what a lot of people think, is that the Ouija board is inherently evil, that the Ouija board is what you don't play with. But in reality, now that I know what I know, there's nothing wrong with the Ouija board. It's the intention and the energy that you go into it with. And that is a big part of how to work with pendulums. So that is a big part of what the class will be about, is helping you heal your beliefs about divination, helping you cultivate your relationship with spirit so that it's built out of love and not fear. And for me, I'm the kind of person that's very much in my head. And so a lot of the work that I do works to shift your beliefs first, and then everything comes very easily afterwards. I can teach you all the techniques and be very technical, but if before the techniques can happen, you don't have the belief or the mindset there, then we'll basically be working against the stream, against the current, and it'll be an uphill battle. So whenever I teach, that's always a big part of my teaching style, is to work with your beliefs and helping you shift it so that it's then in alignment with what we're trying to accomplish. So that's just a little bit of what we'll be doing. If you're just joining, please drop in the chat. Let me know where you're joining from. And since we just talked a little bit about announcements and what's coming up, let me know what interests you the most about what I do and anything about this topic that you're interested in, because I'm always looking for feedback. And if there's something in particular that you're interested in that you'd like to know more about, I'd love to know so that we can share more information. For me, knowledge is power, and I think that's a really easy way for me to help. So hello from Texas. Thank you for joining. All right, so let's go ahead and jump in to some readings, and we'll see how far we can get here. So we're going to start with the grounding meditation, and then I'll walk you through intention setting, and then I'll walk you through how to request a reading. My only ask is that if you do receive a reading, that you just share what it meant for you and how it resonated for you, because that's why I do this. That's why I do these live streams, because I know that I was terrified. I was terrified of mediums, ghosts, spiritual, anything. I mean, religion itself was already a very scary experience. I grew up Catholic and my family's Filipino, and we had a ton of statues in the house, a ton of crucifixion statues, and that's scary to see as a kid. So when I started doing the spiritual work, it really helped me heal that relationship with all of those beliefs and those fears associated with spirituality and organized spirituality. So that I could be here today and very confidently share with you how safe connecting with spirit is. So again, please share your experience to help other people heal their relationship too. So if you want to take a comfortable position, whether that be laying down or sitting back in your seat, you might even find a comfortable position from standing up tall. Whatever that comfortable position may be for you, go ahead and take that now. And we'll begin by taking 3 deep, clearing breaths. Breathing in through the nose for 2, 3, 4. Holding it, 2, 3, 4. And exhaling fully and completely through your mouth for 2, 3, 4. Breathing in through the nose, filling your lungs with beautiful, fresh, clean energy, and holding it, letting that energy integrate and permeate through your cells. And then exhaling fully and completely out through your mouth, releasing all that doesn't serve you, feeling lighter, freer, more liberated. And then taking one last deep breath in through the nose, filling the lungs, holding it, allowing it to connect with your being, and then exhaling fully and completely. And if you haven't done so already, allow your eyes to feel so heavy that your eyelids gently close as your breath returns to its normal rhythm. And visualize roots growing down from your tailbone into the earth. And as they connect into the earth, they grow far and wide and deep into the earth. With every breath that you take, the roots move and travel deeper and wider into the earth. Your roots travel through different layers of sediment, intertwining with the roots of all the land and plants around you, moving through streams of water and dirt, moving through the earth's magma and connecting deep down into the core of the earth. At this core, you find a beautiful golden light energy, and your roots sink into it, connecting ever so gently but firmly with this beautiful earth energy. Like a magical straw, your roots drink up this energy, and this golden light travels up through your root system, re-energizing and revitalizing all that touch your roots, moving through the earth and permeating through miles and miles. And as this golden light energy moves up into your being, it lights up each cell until the next cell and the next cell, until you become a beautiful beam of golden light. And out from the top of your head flows, just like tree limbs, energy reaching up to the sky. And down from the sky flows a beautiful column of white light energy. And just as if your roots that reached out from the top of your head, as if they were holding their hands out to receive and welcome this column of white light, it flows through your core channel, reconnecting you with the earth's golden light. You take a deep breath, and this column of white light expands by a 10-mile radius. You take another deep breath, and the light continues to expand, this time by a 100-mile radius. And finally, you take another deep breath as the light expands to fully encompass the entire planet. Now bring your attention back to the center of your chest, right in front of where your heart is. And in this space glows a beautiful golden green light. And this light represents your intention. So as you think about your intention for today's reading, allow each breath to give life to this intention, and with every exhale, you release any limiting belief, any energy that prevents you from receiving, any healing energy to assist you, support you with your intention. So as you focus on your intention, you notice that this ball grows larger and larger and brighter and stronger, until finally you see that the ball of light energy fills up your entire space. And with so much love and trust, you release this energy out into the universe, knowing that it will go exactly to where it needs to go. And when you're ready, you can gently bring your energy and attention back to your fingers and back to your toes. And return to the room. And when you are ready, you can drop me an emoji, any emoji that you want, in the chat. And I will read off of your emoji. And Grace mentioned in the chat that they would like a reading on their sobriety journey. And I think that we are able to give you a reading. But I also just want to call out that so much love to you on your sobriety journey, for starters. But secondly, I recently learned that someone very close to me in my life is dealing with alcoholism. And it was such a shock and surprise because we often associate alcoholism with the extreme version of alcoholism, where someone could be violent, where they can't show up, where they can't take care of themselves. They're so impaired by alcohol that it's hard for them to be responsible. And this person was not any of that. And so alcoholism and sobriety is a spectrum. I hope people know that, so that you can notice that people around you need help when they need it. And that's tough. I started actually going to Al-Anon, which is the support group for family and friends of alcoholics. And that has been really incredibly helpful for me. So, okay, so I'm going to start with Grace. And let me just explain what I do too, because I said what we're going to do today, but I don't explain how I do it. So I am a psychic medium, spiritual medium, pick your choice. I like to say multidimensional medium because I work with a lot of different methods, but I'm a medium. So on top of getting the message, I also share who is sharing the message with you. Sometimes it's your higher self, sometimes it's a family member, sometimes it's another loved one in spirit, and sometimes they're guides. So I'm going to tap in, see what messages we have for you, Grace, and then just also share, see who's there for you. So it looks like mom's side of the family, and it looks like it is grandma. Wait a second. Let me just clear this. Grandpa. So it is grandpa on mom's side of the family. And I feel like it is, I'll show you, I'll explain what I'm seeing, because it doesn't look like a person. I feel like I'm just getting symbols right now, but I feel like he's a king. I also see this very like dark person. It reminds me of the Black Jesus figurines that I used to see when I was growing up, because I feel like it reminds me of a king chess piece, and it has a lot of purple, like there's royalty, but it also has this vibe of like the Black Jesus of Nazareth figure that I used to see a lot as a kid, and that it has very short, like shoulder length wavy hair, almost maybe like how my hair looks right now. But that the skin is also so dark, it's almost the same color as the hair. And the symbol, who I feel like is grandpa on mom's side of the family, it turns to me and it says, "You don't know my hair." So I feel like the description, the physical description, is not the actual person. It's just a big part of the symbolism. Okay. I do feel like he has a very deep, boisterous voice, and it almost reminds me of like when aristocrats or elderly people would talk and they had sort of like a quiver in their voice. If you are, okay, I'm just going to say it. So it kind of reminds me of how Trevor would talk in Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. And if you guys aren't familiar with Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, or who Trevor is, like you know who Fresh Prince of Bel-Air is. The character Hillary had a fiance named Trevor, and he had this like quiver to his voice, and that's what this voice sounds reminds me of, but it's also very deep. It feels very like high society Southern. And I feel like the person, the grandfather figure, that he's actually, as opposed to the physical description that I gave, I actually see someone quite tall, quite round, and very, very white hair. I see him with a pipe, so like a tobacco pipe. And when he shows me, let's see here. Okay. When he shows me how he is around you, supporting you, I see him. He feels like he is a very giant man and towers over you. Because what I see is like an avatar representation of you. And I see him, he's just like so huge compared to you. And I feel like he's behind you in a way that gives the impression that he is there to catch you if you fall. So he's there supporting you from the back. It also feels like because he's so gigantic compared to you, and he's even like bent over, towering over you, almost as if to give you shade from the sun. Like he's just there as almost like a shell of protection for you. And from time to time, periodically, it feels like he's hugging and embracing you from this position, from behind you. And the embrace also feels like there are times when it feels like you're going to fall on your face, and it feels like you're just leaning too much into a moment, but it's that embrace that it's from love, but it also holds you back and keeps you grounded and in the moment. I feel like because they're showing me you, and it's almost like I'm seeing a heat vision or heat map on your face, and that's what it looks like, but that's not actually what it is. What I'm seeing are different colors, and it feels like it's your aura, and it feels like it's starts off very orange and then comes out to yellow on your face. This is helpful to know because orange, if you're familiar with the chakra system, the Brahman's chakra system, orange is really in your, more in like your uterus, your sex organs, like in your pelvic area. And yellow is more in the gut, the stomach area. And if it's up here, and up here is actually where we tend to see indigo, like that deep blue color, almost purplish color, then it's actually telling us that there's quite a bit of an imbalance. It also tells me, because orange is the opposite, is the complementary color of blue. Is it blue? Is it orange? I think it's orange. Well, I'm getting the vibe that orange is what balances the blue. But it feels like a very big overcorrection, because it's okay if we're in that moment, we need some balancing of energy, but it feels like a big overcorrection because it's just taking over. But what it also tells me is that your emotions feel very overwhelming, and the emotions, it's almost like it just takes over the rest of your energy. It hijacks your energy, and that it's living up here in the area in which attributes to your perception and how you create your reality. It's influencing your perception in almost like a manic way. And that's not to say that it's not to say that there's anything bad about that. I want to be very clear. But it just feels like, because that can be very exhausting if you're allowing your emotions to lead you. Your emotions are just a portion of your guidance system, so it's important to balance it. So allowing yourself to acknowledge your emotions, but then to also ground them, because our emotions are fleeting. Our emotions are constantly in flow. And then allowing yourself to ground the emotion with the constant of you. So that's adding in the structure, because the constant of you, that's the core part of you. So coming back into, I feel like we're asking for what is that core part of you, or what's the root of grace. And when we think about our root chakra, it's about what your sense of safety. And so that is the part of you that you can root into when you start to feel really emotional. That's the part of you that you can come back to help you calm down the emotion. And when I look into your root chakra, what I see is a serpent. So that's interesting, because, sometimes people think of serpents as a bad thing, but in other cultures, like in Catholicism, we're just talking about Catholicism a lot today. In Catholicism, we don't think of the serpent as a good icon or a good symbol, because we think of it as the tempter, the one that gave the apple. And in other cultures, the serpent can be a really good thing. I think, and Ira, who is my partner behind the scenes, might be able to speak to this a little bit about what the serpent represents in Filipino culture. I know maybe I'm mixing it up with a crocodile. Okay, but when I think of a serpent, I think of this very strong, I think of this very strong representation of energy in a very unassuming actual physical expression. Because you look at snakes and it's like a giant worm, but they're really, really strong, and they're constantly going through transformation and growth, and they are much stronger and can take on other creatures that you would not expect. And what comes to mind is, I just think about these giant giant snakes in the Philippines that could eat a person, or they could eat a large animal, and they have everything within them to be able to break that down. So they're much stronger than meets the eye. And also, when I think about serpents, I also think about the reptilian part of you. So when we think about the reptilian brain, when we're thinking about like neuroscience, the reptilian brain is the fight or flight. It's a survival part of you. And there is a part of you. So I feel like this is the reason why the serpent shows up in your root chakra. But there is a part of you that, the survival part of you, that helped you calm down the emotions. And it's that part of you that you don't need to actually stay in all the time. It's just when the emotions come up. So that survival part of you can come back up, whether it be like taking a deep breath, reminding yourself that there are bigger things, reminding yourself that you've dealt with things that are much larger and felt scarier. But it's these things that help you calm the emotion, calm the alarm of what's taking over, so that you can then have clarity to also take in and increase awareness. So clarity to take in everything else that's going on and increasing the awareness through that. Because right now it's like all you see is the emotion, but there are so many other things happening too. Grace wrote, I struggle with my emotions a lot. They keep me in a negative loop cycle with substance abuse. I also see serpent in my dreams often. One was a man's penis. Okay. Let's dig into that. I feel like the serpent for your dreams, because what I see is a serpent moving towards you, and it actually wraps around your neck. And I feel like it's because what comes to mind are scales. So I'm also seeing scales, and it feels like weighing of vices. So I know you mentioned substance abuse, and it feels like if it wasn't substance abuse, it was going to be like some form of sexual abuse. So even though you may have, consented or gotten into situations with partners, you weren't fully aware of what you were doing. So you're just trading one vice for another. And it feels like in those situations, you didn't have control, because I see it gripping you. And I feel like what's really helpful here is knowing that that's a part of you. That's something you do not need to turn off. It's something that you can have, but it's taking back the power in what that is, to be able to know, to be able to like come back to your identity and say, this is who I am, this is what I want, but only on these terms. And it's very similar to how I teach psychic development and mediumship development, and that you have to be very clear about who you are and set up terms of engagement with how you're going to interact with those spirits, or interact with, even if it's like a divination tool. So in this situation, it's like, I'm a very emotionally sensitive person. This is who Chriselle Valenzuela is. I'm a emotionally sensitive person, and I have a lot of feelings. And I just know that if I am in relationship with other people that do not take responsibility, that I'm going to be abused in those situations, because I get a dopamine hit when I get to help people. And because these people don't take responsibility for their life, there's always going to be something to help them with. And so I have to create a boundary for myself. And that's my term of engagement. So that's what, I hope this is making sense, but that's what it would be like for that's what it would be like for setting a term of engagement. And it can also be like, you know what, I am also Crisel Valenzuela that loves desserts. I think they're really tasty. However, I also know that if I allowed myself, I would indulge every single night. And so I create a structure, a rule of engagement for myself as I allow myself to have this if I have a really great day, if I'm really accomplished that day, and I decide what that means to be really accomplished, and I decide how much I'm allowed to take. So I know that, and I don't want to reduce what your experience was down to like having dessert or anything, because I don't know what that's like. It must be very, very hard. I'm sure it's very hard and very difficult, but having a sexually intimate relationship is not something that you should feel fear for, because it is for you. And because someone abused it is not a reason for you to swear it off. So this is where the healing comes in, because they robbed you. What they did was they robbed you of your sexual pleasure. And so the healing is in healing that relationship. And I feel like what's coming through is also that, like, being a sexual person, that is an archetype. That is an archetype, and it lives within you. It lives within all of us. It actually feels like there's a lot of release, emotional release to let out that's been held onto for a really long time. And what I feel is I see you healing it through your own spiritual connection. Because I see you being embraced by this giant person towering over you, and that you are crying into them while you hug them. So what that tells me is that there is an awareness of this energy, and that you are like in mutual relationship. And it feels like the addiction doesn't heal until you make that connection. It doesn't have to happen that way. What they're showing me is that it doesn't have to happen that way, but it feels like you're just going to trade in the abuse for the substance abuse for something else. And something in particular they're showing me is I see strawberries, because when I ask if it has to be this way, they show me very, very red, very ripe, juicy, sweet strawberries, and I just see like popping it in, because an addiction can be with something that is typically seen as something good for you. So vegetables, fruits and vegetables, everyone's like, you need to have fruits and vegetables, but even too much of that could be bad for you. Like, there are vegetarians that are overweight and they love their vegetables, but they consume it in excess. And that's what abuse is it's being done in excess. It's out of balance. So it feels like it's that spiritual connection for you that really helps you see the bigger picture and integrate. I also am feeling like things that are really innocent. And I see this in a way that's like, oh, I see children's characters, children's puppets, something that feels so innocent and is meant to be so innocent. And it could easily turn into something very scary because it's unknown. And I feel like that's what spirituality feels like for you, because it's uncharted territory. Like, this is something new to you, developing that connection. But I also feel like that is also part of the journey, is for you to go there, to go where you are uncertain, and to find that you've led yourself somewhere safe, and to give yourself that credit. Because a lot of this, I feel like a lot of the energy right now comes from you don't trust yourself, that you are uncertain if you can make it, if you can do certain things. But it feels like you need this reminder, and you need to feel like this reminder comes from somewhere larger, to be able to deepen that connection with spirit, but also to deepen that trust within yourself. I feel like that's it. But I also feel like this grandfather figure, he's like going to be getting in touch with you. So whether that was already on your trajectory, if that was already on your plans or not, I feel like this grandfather figure is going to be visiting you, whether in your dreams or meditation, or even just as you go through the day. Let's see here. So let's see what Iris shared. So ancient Greece and Egypt and indigenous North America, snakes symbolize fertility, rebirth, renewal, and even immortality. Snake symbols in Filipino culture, serpent as a familiar of goddess. They are known to symbolize wisdom, fertility, beauty, and like the bird, divine status was also given to them. So I feel like reclaim that serpent, reclaim your divinity, reclaim all the energy, and be able to own it. Take it back. It's yours. What comes to mind is like when you have a creation that turns on you, and it's like, don't let it take over you. It's like the mom saying, I brought you into this world and I could take you out. This is yours. This was always yours to begin with. So it's your opportunity, it's your purpose to go back and take it back for yourself. Okay, so I hope that was helpful. Hi Claire, thanks so much for joining. I'm going to take a sip of water here. Okay. It looks like I only have 12 minutes left. I don't know if that's going to be enough time for a reading. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to go into a trance and do some trance healing. And I will share some messages while in the trance state. And if you guys are new to trance, I am also kind of new. So this is great because I'm looking to practice my trance mediumship a little more, and my trance healing and trance communication. So if you are interested in a private trance session while I am developing, please join my mailing list so that you can find out about these opportunities, because I will only be offering these one-on-one sessions with me through my mailing list. And something I mentioned earlier is if you join, I was talking about joining my mailing list, but I actually have a survey that I'm putting out so that I could gather the feedback and really reimagine my offerings to what the people want, what the people need. And so I have a survey running right now. If you join my mailing list, you'll gain access to that survey. And for everyone that completes the survey, you are entered into a contest to win a free energetic empowerment session with me. And in that energetic empowerment session, I go through your human design chart and help you understand how your energy works, how your physical innate guidance system works to help you make aligned decisions, and how your energy interacts with other people so that you can be in right relationship with others and surround yourself with people that are meant to help uplift you, and vice versa. So Okay, if you guys have any questions, go ahead and drop them in the chat. And my girl Ira will be right there with you. And when I go into a trance state, I feel like I'm just going to go to sleep. And so my head will drop. And I know that my speech, it's like very soft. So we're going to try and make this happen the best that we can. Okay, guys? And let me see if I can raise my volume a bit. Okay, so that's as loud as it can go. And yep. Okie dokie. I'm going to pull it in close. I don't want you guys to see my boogers or my nose hairs, but I do want you to be able to hear me. Okay. When she takes a stroll, she thinks it takes a toll. But what she doesn't realize is that it adds to her soul. That moment of reprieve, the curiosity in her eyes, the gentle stretch in her neck as she scans up towards the sky. A nature walk gives you plenty to talk. It feeds the soul. It opens the eyes. It recalibrates the feet. It helps you feel the feeling to fly. Too many of you balk at going for a walk, but it's you that deprive yourself of all the magic and all the healing that come from such a thing. And over time, as if carrying a heavy backpack with too many things stuffed in it, you lose the opportunity of mobility, crushed beneath the weight of your anxiety, And all you needed was to go for a walk and allow your energy to do what it knows best and to release it so that I could transmute it. In the mind, because sometimes the sound of that brain parrot is enough to turn the switch and change the track of the mind. But the next time that you feel intertwined, switch up your mind and take that walk. No need for fancy bells or whistles. Healing is available and all around you. I'll talk to you later. Till we meet again. Thank you everyone for joining. Join my mailing list to get notified when we have our next community readings for collective healing. And have a wonderful evening. Thank you everyone.